All right, everybody, welcome back. Today we're taking a deep dive into the world of the Secret Service. You know, those guys in suits with the sunglasses?
Always looking serious.
Oh, yeah, super serious. But their story, it's not what you might think. It doesn't start with protecting presidents. It starts with, with counterfeiters.
That's right. Formed on the very same day Lincoln was assassinated, April 14th, 1865.
Crazy timing, huh?
It is. But their mission back then, tackling fake money, a huge problem after the Civil War.
So how did they go from chasing down counterfeiters to guarding the most powerful person in the world?
It's a classic example of how institutions can evolve, sometimes in unexpected ways. Like, think about the FDA, right?
Started with mislabeled food, now they're regulating entire industries.
Exactly. The Secret Service's shift to protecting the president, though, it wasn't immediate.
Early presidents weren't too keen on the idea, were they?
Not really. They saw it as too king-like for a democracy.
It took 3 presidential assassinations, right?
That's right. Lincoln, Garfield, then McKinley. That really forced the change.
But it's the JFK assassination that really, I don't know, it seems like it's kind of burned into the agency's DNA.
Absolutely. The Warren Commission investigation really put the Secret Service under the microscope.
I bet.
Director Rowley, he testified, defending his agents, but also acknowledging there were serious flaws.
Like what?
They hadn't focused enough on the threat from a potential sniper, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Kennedy's motorcade in Dallas, it drove right past buildings with, clear lines of sight.
Oh, wow.
And to make things worse, some agents had been out drinking the night before the assassination.
Talk about a wake-up call.
It was a massive one, led to a complete overhaul of the agency, modernization, bigger protection detail, and a new kind of training. Intense attack on the principal, they called it.
So, like, pure reflex. Get the president out of harm's way no matter what.
Exactly. And less than 20 years later, that training would be put to the test. During the Reagan assassination attempt.
All right, picture this. March 30th, 1981, Reagan, he's barely 2 months into his presidency, John Hinckley Jr. opens fire as Reagan's leaving the Hilton. And get this, there are multiple security lapses that day.
It really highlights how even the best security measures can fail.
Yeah.
And the consequences, well, they can be enormous.
Yeah.
In this case, Hinckley was able to blend in with reporters, an area the Secret Service hadn't fully secured.
You're kidding.
Nope. And there was no cover between him and Reagan as he exited the hotel, essentially giving Hinckley a clear shot.
Hold on. They let an unscreened guy with a gun get that close to the president? That's terrifyingly close to a complete disaster.
It was a confluence of mistakes, But what's incredible is how the agents reacted. Their training, it just kicked in.
Mm.
And despite those lapses, they saved Reagan's life.
Oh.
Jerry Parr, the lead agent, he instantly shoved Reagan into the limo with so much force that Reagan thought he'd broken a rib.
Oh, wow.
And another agent, Tim McCarthy, he took a bullet for the president.
Wow. They went from major security failures to acts of incredible heroism in like seconds. It really makes you think about the pressure these agents are under, the weight of responsibility, But after a near miss like that, how do they ensure something similar doesn't happen again?
That leads us to the world of threat assessment. The Secret Service has this division, the Protective Intelligence Division. Yeah. They sift through hundreds of potential threats every single day, trying to separate, the credible danger from just empty rants.
Man, I can't even imagine the pressure of that job. You're constantly evaluating risk, but on a scale most of us we can't comprehend. So walk us through it. How do they figure out who's a real threat and who's just making noise?
It involves meticulous investigation, background checks, interviews, online activity, any potential indicator of intent or capability to cause harm.
I see.
They collaborate with other intelligence agencies looking for patterns, red flags, and let's not forget the psychological aspect, trying to understand the motivations, the mindset of potential attackers.
That's a whole other level of analysis. And it's not just about the president, is it? They're protecting their families, dignitaries, even former presidents.
It's massive, a huge undertaking. And we haven't even touched on the toll this kind of vigilance takes on the agents themselves. The long hours, the missed family events, the constant pressure.
It's easy to forget that these are real people with lives outside this incredibly demanding job.
You're absolutely right.
Lenig describes one agent who said he felt like his head was always on a swivel, constantly scanning for threats, even off duty.
It takes a toll. Mentally, emotionally.
For sure. But despite that dedication, the Secret Service has faced some scandals, some security breaches in recent years. It makes you wonder about their effectiveness, their culture.
Yeah, the Columbia prostitution scandal, for example, and then the White House fence jumpers, in 2014 and 2017. Those incidents, they reveal some real problems within the agency.
Yeah, those fence jumpers, I mean, those stories were all over the news. It's shocking how easily someone could just, I don't know, breach what should be the most secure residence in the country. Remind us what happened there.
Well, in 2014, this guy, he scaled the White House fence and actually got inside the building before they caught him.
No way.
Yeah. He was alarmingly close to the first family's, private residence.
That's insane.
It exposed a whole bunch of failures,
Yeah.
unlocked doors, ignored alarms. There was even a K-9 unit that wasn't deployed because the handler was on the phone with his wife.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I mean, talk about a lapse in judgment.
Wow. And that wasn't the only time, was it? Didn't someone else jump the fence a few years later?
Yeah, you're right. Another fence jumper in 2017. This guy, he spent 17 minutes on the White House grounds before they finally caught him.
17 minutes?
17 minutes. I mean, these breaches, along with the prostitution scandal, it highlighted this culture of, I don't know, complacency,
Yeah.
a real lack of accountability.
Leonig also talks about, that kind of boys club atmosphere within the Secret Service. And there were those lawsuits from black agents alleging discrimination, right?
Exactly. The Secret Service has had to deal with allegations of sexism, racism, this culture that seemed to protect those engaging in misconduct. It's a real problem. Damages public trust, and it raises serious concerns about their ability to effectively protect the president.
Yeah, absolutely. So after all of that, all those challenges, where does the Secret Service go from here? How do they adapt to this changing world and all these internal problems?
Well, 9/11, that was a major turning point. The agency was moved from the Treasury Department to the newly formed Department of Homeland Security. That move, it kind of reflected the broader threat landscape, right?
Right.
It's not just lone gunmen anymore. Terrorism, cyber attacks, disinformation campaigns. I mean, the threats are they're more complex, more interconnected than ever before.
It's like they're facing a multidimensional chessboard or something, constantly trying to, predict and counter moves from all directions.
Exactly. They've had to, significantly expand their skill set, their resources to address these evolving dangers. They're investing in advanced technology, things like facial recognition, behavioral analysis software, predictive modeling, just trying to stay ahead of the curve.
Man, it sounds like something straight out of a spy thriller or something.
It's getting closer and closer to that every day. But beyond just the tech, there's also a crucial need for collaboration. They're working more closely with other intelligence agencies now, the FBI, CIA, NSA, both domestically and internationally.
Makes sense. In a globalized world, the threats, they don't stop at borders.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sharing information, coordinating security efforts, it's all got to be, a team effort.
Right. But is all that, the tech, the collaboration, is that enough?
Well, Leonig, she argues that the Secret Service needs a fundamental cultural shift to really address these problems.
Okay.
It's about, moving away from that boys club mentality, fostering a more diverse, more inclusive environment, promoting a culture of accountability where mistakes, are seen as learning opportunities.
It's not just about protecting the president, then. It's about protecting the integrity of the institution itself.
Precisely. The Secret Service, it needs to reflect the values, the diversity of the country it serves.
Yeah.
And it needs to prove that it's learned from its past failures.
Right.
That it's committed to a future of, professionalism and excellence.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. The history, the triumphs, the failures, the evolving challenges. What stands out to you as the most important takeaways from all of this?
I think it's crucial to recognize that the Secret Service, despite all its flaws, it plays a vital role in safeguarding American democracy. They're on the front line, protecting not just a person, but a symbol. And their successes, they often go unnoticed, but their failures, well, those are instantly scrutinized.
It's a job that demands constant vigilance, adaptability, a willingness to learn from mistakes. And it's a job that's becoming increasingly difficult in a world where the threats are they're more complex, more unpredictable than ever before.
It's a reminder that security, it's not a static concept, right? It's an ongoing process, evolution, adaptation, and it requires constant reassessment, investment, a commitment to staying ahead of the curve.
So what does all this mean for the future of presidential protection? What should the Secret Service be focusing on in the years to come?
That's the $1 million question, isn't it? I mean, how do you prepare for threats you can't even imagine yet?
Oh,
It's a challenge, but the answer it probably lies in a combination of factors.
like what? Let's start with technology. We've talked about cybersecurity, facial recognition, data analysis, but what about AI? Could AI play a role in threat assessment and prevention?
That's a fascinating frontier,
Oh,
you know. Immense potential. Imagine AI systems that can analyze massive data sets, social media posts, financial transactions, travel patterns, all of it
okay.
to identify potential threats before they even, materialize.
That sounds like something out of like Minority Report or something.
Oh, the technology, it's advancing rapidly. And the Secret Service, they need to be at the forefront of these developments.
Hmm.
But it's not just about embracing new tools. It's about understanding their limitations, their ethical implications.
Right. We can't just throw AI at the problem and hope for the best,
Right.
right? There
Yeah.
there needs to be careful consideration of privacy, of bias, the potential for, unintended consequences.
Absolutely. Human judgment, human oversight,
Yeah.
it'll always be critical. Even as AI becomes more and more sophisticated, it's about finding that balance,
Right.
between leveraging the technology and preserving those essential human values.
And it's not just about AI, right? The Secret Service also needs to strengthen its partnerships with other agencies, both here in the US and internationally. It's like that old saying, right? It takes a village. But in this case, it takes a global network of intelligence agencies all working together to protect the leader of the free world. But even with all that, the tech, the collaboration, we can't ignore the human element. Leonig, she really stresses the need for that culture shift within the Secret Service.
Yeah, absolutely. Technology, I mean, it can be an incredibly powerful tool, but it's only as effective as the people using it.
Uh-huh.
A culture of complacency or one that tolerates misconduct, it can undermine even the most advanced security systems.
It's about more than just, rules and regulations, right? It's about fostering a mindset of constant vigilance, ethical conduct, a commitment to learning and improvement.
It's about creating an environment where every agent, they feel empowered to speak up if they see something wrong, knowing that their concerns will be taken seriously. It's about fostering a culture of trust and accountability at all levels of the organization.
And that kind of culture change, I mean, that doesn't happen overnight, right? It takes time, commitment,
Right.
strong leadership, from the top down.
And it also requires a willingness to acknowledge past mistakes and learn from them. The Secret Service, they can't afford to just, sweep scandals and security breaches under the rug. They need to be transparent about what went wrong,
Yeah.
hold those responsible, accountable, and implement some meaningful reforms to prevent those future failures.
It's a tall order, but it's essential if
Yeah.
they want to regain public trust and effectively, carry out their mission in the 21st century.
Right. And ultimately, that's what it all comes down to, right? Ensuring the safety and security of the president, upholding the principles of American democracy. It's a weighty responsibility,
Yeah.
and one that the Secret Service has to, approach with unwavering dedication
Yeah.
and a commitment to continuous improvement.
So after this deep dive into the world of the Secret Service, I mean, does knowing about these challenges, these successes, does it change your perception of the agency at all?
For me, it really reinforces the fact that security is just it's complex. It's a constantly evolving challenge. It's not just about physical protection. It's about intelligence, technology, and maybe most importantly, the human element.
Yeah, we often see these agents in the background,
Yeah.
just stoic figures in suits and sunglasses, but they're real people making difficult decisions under immense pressure. Their job it requires this unique combination of skills, courage, and a deep understanding of human nature.
It's a job that demands constant vigilance, adaptability, a willingness to push the boundaries of what's possible, to protect the leader of the free world.
And it's a job that's more vital now than ever before in our increasingly complex and interconnected world.
We encourage you to check out Carol Leonig's book Zero Fail. Delve deeper into this fascinating world. Her book, it offers a compelling, thought-provoking look behind the curtain of presidential protection. explores both the triumphs and the failures of the Secret Service, throughout its history.
It's a reminder that even the most, elite institutions are made up of human beings,
Yeah.
capable of both great heroism and grave errors. And it's a reminder that security is not, a static concept, but a dynamic and an ongoing process
Yeah.
of adaptation and evolution.
So as we wrap up our deep dive, we want to leave you with one final thought. The future of presidential protection, it's still being written, and it's up to all of us to engage in the conversation. Ask those tough questions, and demand accountability from those entrusted with this critical responsibility.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of the Secret Service. We hope you learned something new and gained a deeper appreciation for the challenges and the complexities of protecting the most powerful person on the planet.